Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time tonight. I know everybody's busy, but I really appreciate that you're here, and I hope that at the end of this presentation, everybody's happy and relaxed. So a little bit about me and Healing Breath. So my name is Claudia Mata, for those of you who don't know me. I'm the founder of Healing Breath, and Healing Breath is a center that I founded a year ago, exactly in October. And the idea was to provide different relaxation techniques to people, and we offer some other services like biodynamic osteopathy and meditation. The idea is to have some, we are just kind of like starting, and we want to have some meditation sessions, like group meditations for people to just come and have some space to meditate together and relax. So I wanted to start, talking about some myths about relaxation, because I feel that we all think that we understand what relaxation is, but there are so many things that people think are relaxation that can be, but maybe not. So I wanted to talk about these myths, but I wanted to first start with what relaxation is. And relaxation is not only a physical, but also a mental state of ease. And the idea is that when we are relaxed, then our level of stress is less. And if we can get rid of that mental and physical tension, then we can have a sense of calm, tranquility, and that improves our overall well-being. There is a belief, and I think I share this belief, that when we are relaxed, we rejuvenate not only the mind, but also the body. I think we all know that it helps reduce the negative effects of stress. And when we don't have that, we're not dominated by stress, then we have a better quality of life. And there are so many different techniques, and techniques have different effects in different people. Like I can like some way of relaxing that may not be that relaxing for other people. Like when you think about, some people don't like to do like hatha yoga, which is the mild kind of gentle yoga, because they just want more of a flow yoga in which they are more active, and it's more like an exercise than it is a relaxing practice. So every person is different. So let's talk about myth number one. So the best way to relax for me is to have a cup of coffee or a few drinks with my friends. And I can hear you saying, no, yes, that's not a myth. It's true. Every time I get together with my friends and we have some drinks, I feel super relaxed. And I do agree with the part of the friends. We definitely need the community, be around friends, and when we are with good friends, because also, of course, depends on your friends. If you have very good friends that you trust and you can be vulnerable with, then you can release all your stress and difficulties and feel better. So that part is really good. If you have friends that actually drain your energy, and sometimes I feel that I'm one of those that complains all the time about work and how stressed things are and how difficult the war and all this stuff, then sometimes that can be draining for somebody, for your friends or for yourself. So that part is kind of like, yeah, it's a good idea, but just pick your good friends. But on the other hand, when we talk about coffee and drinks, coffee can be, or is, no, it's not can be, it is a stimulant. So same with alcohol. So we can feel good in the moment, but then the relaxation actually is impaired because of the effect of the coffee and the alcohol in our systems. So sometimes being out with friends can be more anxiety creating than it's actually relaxing. Myth number 2, relaxation means doing nothing. Nada. So I don't know about you, but for me, being idle is not really very relaxing. It can cause a little bit of stress and anxiety when I feel that I'm not being productive. Relaxation is actively practicing techniques that help us get calmer and be more centered. When I think about this, what comes to my mind is like our minds is always active. We are always thinking about something. And if we don't have a good control over our thoughts, then being idle is not going to help, because we're going to be more preoccupied with things that may have not happened yet, they may never happen, or things that are actually happening of which we don't really have any control over. We cannot do many things about our politics besides voting and having conversations with other people. We cannot do many things about the news that we are listening to, and sometimes being idle allows us to get into these thoughts deeper, and that can cause anxiety, depression, and other non-relaxing thoughts. So I think the key is to find what is it that really help us unwind and give us a sense of peace and calm that is very needed every day. I think we all have some level of stress. I don't believe we can ever get rid of stress, and I don't think it's actually healthy not to have any kind of stress. So being relaxed doesn't really mean to be motionless. It's an active, fulfilling experience. So myth number 3. So I am guilty of this, right? Is I don't have time to relax. It takes a long time to relax. So one of the goals of this workshop today is to give you some techniques that are actually fast and easy to practice, so you can incorporate them into your daily routine without being stressful about when am I going to do this. So I'm going to guide you on a small technique, and I couldn't really find a good picture for this because that's not the way you put the hands over your eyes, but just bear with me. I'm going to ask you to please sit comfortably, and I'd rather people don't lay down on their backs when we're doing these exercises, because it's very easy to fall asleep, which is not wrong. You can do these exercises when you are, going to bed and falling asleep, but I want us right now to stay awake. So I want you to please sit comfortably and close your eyes. And I want you to notice your breathing. Is it fast? Is it shallow? Or is it slow but not very deep? Take a second to just breathe with your eyes closed. Now I want you to put your hands together and rub them for about 4 seconds. Just count to 4, rubbing your hands. And if you have glasses, take your glasses off. And after you finish rubbing your hands, I want you to put the palm of your hands gently over your eyes. Just keep them there. Now take a deep breath through your nose and breathe out through your nose also. Now just continue breathing normally, gently through your nose, and keep your hands over your eyes. Now I want you to slowly remove your hands and keep breathing with your eyes closed. Now slowly open your eyes and just have a little reflection of how you felt after this. If you want to share in the chat, feel free to share and we can read it after we finish. Now this exercise is very good, not only to relax, but also to give a break to your eyes when you have been in front of the computer for a long time, and which I think is the case for all of us here. And just energizes you, it just gives you a break. It helps you to disconnect from the environment around you for a few seconds. Of course, please don't do it while you're driving. I recommend that. Not very relaxing. Okay. Okay, myth number 4. When I get home, I relax on the couch and watch my favorite show. And trust me, this is really one of those that I have to fight because I love getting home and just not have to think about anything and sit in front of the Netflix show that I like. And again, all these myths are not completely wrong, but I want to invite you to reflect a little bit on what is it that we are actually putting in our brain? Like, what is it that we're feeding our mind? What kind of images are we seeing before we actually go to bed? So when we watch TV, we are actually passively letting images enter our brain without any opposition. They are just whatever the show is showing, we cannot just separate from it. And again, like, what's the content of the show? Like, is it action? Is it actually a documentary about relaxation? That may help. But what is it that we are feeding our minds every day? The other thing is usually when we get home is the afternoon or the night after we have had a long day of working, meaning we are maybe going to eat in front of the TV and then we're going to go to bed. And being on in front of the screen, any screen, either the TV or your computer or the tablet, has actually a contrary effect on your mind and your brain, and then it can affect your sleep. So there's a recommendation that if you want to have a good night of sleep, it's not a good idea to have any screen interaction at least an hour before you go to sleep. And if you think about it, I mean, how many times have you gone to bed and the show was so good, you just go to bed and you still are thinking about the show? You go to sleep and then in the morning you're still thinking about it. You go to take a shower and it's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen with this character that I like so much? And I don't think that's really relaxing. And of course, it's even worse if instead of a show, what we do is just we go straight from a very stressful day to watch the news. That's really a no-no if you really want to be relaxed. And more myths. And I'm telling you, we're not going to be able to talk about all the myths there are about relaxation. So a very common one. So if I relax, which means I'm not doing anything, who is going to do all the things that need to be done? And the answer is maybe nobody. So a few things about this. So one thing is we all have an unending to-do list. And most of the time, we stress out about all the things that we have to do. And it doesn't help. Doing things, some people have some pleasure cleaning and organizing. That's pretty good. I'm not one of them. But one of the things that I want to bring up tonight is having a tidy space, a space where you don't have to see a lot of clutter, is already a relaxing space. If any of you practices meditation, I'm sure you know that if you are trying to meditate in an area that has a lot of stuff, it's going to be more difficult. So the best thing to do is to create a system in which you don't have to wait and for the end of the day or the end of the week, the weekend, to be cleaning stuff around, because it's going to make you crazy, increase your stress level, and it's going to make your relaxation a lot more difficult. So try to just every day do a little bit, and that way you don't have to have this horrible task of cleaning everything at the same time. Relaxation is a luxury, and it can be. I think this is a choice, right? We can have an awesome massage that is expensive. We can go to a spa, which can be expensive. We can go to, I don't know, a swimming pool, whatever it is that help, traveling, going to a beach, going to the Caribbean, especially. But that doesn't mean that you cannot relax unless you go to these places, That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this workshop, because I want you to understand there are so many things that we can do at home, in the office, when we are doing our regular things, to just take a minute, sit down, close your eyes, take a breath, just pay attention to your breathing, and be more relaxed than you were 5 minutes before, without having to go to a fancy place. And if you have the money to go to the fancy place, well, that's pretty good too. And I think you also have had the feeling of, you go to this amazing vacation and you're very relaxed, you're doing all the stuff that you love, and you don't have to worry about anything. And then at the end, the 3 days before the vacation ends, you're like, I'm going to go home and I have to do all this stuff. And then the relaxation that you accomplished during the days of vacation just goes away, because you are now preoccupying about getting home and getting everything back to normal. The other myth is, some people think, oh, well, I cannot really relax during the week because I'm working all day, and then I get home and I just have to do all this stuff, so I don't really have time. So maybe during the weekend. And maybe during the weekend you can, but I think my advice to everybody is to incorporate these techniques in your daily routine, so that way you don't have to wait until the weekend. And also, of course, incorporate in the weekend, during the weekend routine. So let's practice another technique. So again, I want you to sit comfortably. And this technique is also rubbing your hands, because rubbing your hands creates kinetic energy. And then the atoms from your hands, they cause this tingling, and the energy moving helps the healing process, and it helps relaxation. So I want you to sit comfortably. And again, I want you to rub your hands for about 4 seconds. So just rub your hands, and without putting them together, I want you to place the palms facing each other, but don't put them together. Just keep like about maybe 2 inches to 4 inches in between, and just feel what's happening. And you feel the tingling. This tingling is from the kinetic energy. Now I want you to close your eyes and keep the hands facing each other with about 2 to 4 inches separation. And while keeping your hands in this position, I want you to notice your breathing. And remember, we're going to be breathing through your nose. We're going to keep the mouth closed. And I want you to notice, again, is it fast? Is it deep? Is it shallow? Just pay attention to your breathing. Now I want you to visualize a bright crystal ball sitting between your hands. You're not touching it, but you can feel it. And you can manipulate it. You can kind of go around and feel it. Now, I want you to synchronize the breathing with a movement of your hands. So every time you breathe in, the ball is gonna expand and your hands are gonna move away from each other. So you take a deep breath and your hands move away from each other. And then you're gonna breathe out and they come back. And the ball kind of reduces its size to 2 inches. And then you're gonna repeat this 4 times. So breathe in and that crystal ball expands. Breathe out and it shrinks with the movement of your hands. Just keep doing it until I start talking again. Okay, now I want you to visualize that crystal ball disappearing. And I want you to rest your hands on your chest with the dominant hand going first and the other one on top of it. And I want you to feel your breathing. Now notice how the breathing takes a different rhythm. And notice how your mind has been concentrating on the crystal ball with your eyes closed. And just stay in that feeling for a minute. And now relax your hands and slowly open your eyes. Just try to remember this feeling of relaxation. And if you want to share again in the chat how you feel, that would be great. So again, that took maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes. So let's keep going. So as I said before, there are many more myths, but I wanted to also talk about some, like, what are the benefits of relaxation, right? And I think pretty much every one of you knows, but I still wanted to just talk about it because I think we usually think about the psychological and the physical benefits of relaxation, but I think there is also a huge benefit with our spiritual being, because when we can relax our mind and our body, we are more open to a spiritual growth, and we are in connection independently. This is not, I'm not talking about a religious belief, but I'm talking about your spiritual self, whatever it is that you believe. You know, some people are connected with nature, and that's what relaxes them. That's their spiritual practice, just being in the woods, being with nature, whatever nature is that you have around you. So the benefits are all psychological, physical, and spiritual. And as you practice, these benefits are going to be more evident and are going to be also, you know, faster. You're going to get into a relaxed state faster than if you didn't practice them. So let's talk about, you know, one of the benefits supposedly is to be stress-free, which is a pretty nice idea, but I don't believe that we can ever be stress-free. In my opinion, what these techniques help us with is to increase our tolerance to stress. We cannot really, I mean, you can, I guess you can get rid of stress. If you are stressed out at work, then you can just leave work, right? If you're stressed out at home, well, that's a little bit of a different situation, right? You have to make a decision if what it is that needs to happen for you to at least get out of that stress part of your life. But even if you get rid of that kind of stress, you cannot completely be free of stress. I see stress as, you know, just think about lifting weights, right? So when we start lifting weights, that the lifting of the weight is a stress on your body, right? And it can be, of course, stressful for your mind because you're trying to like get it, you know, like feel stronger, and you're not. So with practice, you are lifting that weight, and with time, the stress of lifting whatever weight you're trying to lift is less because you have more tolerance. Your muscles have been able to get used to that amount of weight, so you are able to, now it's kind of easy now, so your tolerance to that weight is higher, so you can move on to the next weight. I feel that stress is the same idea. You cannot really completely get rid of your stress, but you can absolutely increase your tolerance to stress. So you will be able to make better decisions. If you have stress at work, people are going to notice that maybe the crises that happen are not affecting you as much. And people notice that, like, oh, you know, like, well, how is it that you're so calm and all this stuff is going on around us? And it's because when you have been practicing your relaxation techniques, the tolerance to stress is a lot higher and than anybody else's. And that helps you to make the right decisions, to not be affected as bad mentally, physically, or spiritually. So stress actually has a positive side, you know, as everybody, we're not all bad or good. So we have bad and good, and stress is not different, right? There are certain good things about stress that we have to also discuss, but that's a different topic for another workshop that I hope you also come to talk about. So yeah, I don't believe we can be stress-free. Now, there have been studies that show that practices like mindfulness and you know, breathing and meditation can absolutely enhance emotional well-being increase self-awareness, and improve overall mood. And I don't know if you are familiar with some studies that have shown that kids that learn meditation from early age and practice meditation or relaxation techniques at school have more capacity to learn difficult tasks, and they have a better way to deal with life in general. And I really feel that would be great if everywhere, in every school and every educational facility will have some kind of relaxation, breathing, meditation for kids, because I think that will definitely help our society in general. So improves our mental health, and we know how mental health is pretty much a crisis in every country. So there you go. Now, when people practice relaxation regularly in their routine, their productivity and capacity to concentrate and focus is beyond whatever you can imagine, because you have mental clarity and you just have the capacity to concentrate in the task that you have. And as you know, in that thing that you focus on is where your energy goes. So when you are relaxed and you don't have to think about 10,000 other things that you are preoccupied about, then you're gonna improve your productivity and your focus. And that takes me to another reason why I think our corporations, in our jobs, there should be some sort of incorporated relaxation practice, meditation, give people the space to have breaks. I know, for example, I work in healthcare, and I know in healthcare it's very difficult to even take a break. There are other places where you can have 10, 15-minute breaks in between your hours of work. And it's very important that, like in my case, for example, as a health practitioner, I have to force myself to take a minute, take a second, get up and change my energy by moving, because sometimes you're sitting there in front of the computer writing your notes, and you have to stop, give a break to your eyes, take a breath, and try to relax a little bit. Otherwise, we go from being stressed out to being burnt out, which is not a very good idea. And there's a very big difference between being burnt out and being stressed out. So I really encourage you all to take regular breaks and practice some of these relaxation techniques so we can combat mental fatigue, prevent burnout, and maintain optimal cognitive functioning. And it's known by all of us that when we have the capacity to relax, our sleep quality is gonna be way better. It's gonna improve our rest, because you can sleep and not rest, but if you sleep and rest, then you feel refreshed in the morning, and again you are going to have a better capacity to focus on your daily tasks and be able to be more productive and do the things that you love. So practices like deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, guided imagery, and mindfulness, they can help achieving a more restful and rejuvenating sleep. Sorry. And the other thing is, the quality and the quantity of sleep. So many times we may have quality of sleep in only like a few hours, but if you can at least sleep 7 hours, 6 to 7 hours, and you have the quality of sleep is so good that you really rest, then you don't really need to sleep 9 hours. Actually 9 hours will be a little bit too much, and you cannot really rest. Sleep has to be a certain number of hours, should not be more than 8 hours, should not be less than 6 hours or 5 hours. So if you have quality, the amount of time is not going to be that important, I guess. Now, there are, of course, physical health benefits, not only mental. There have been studies that have shown that when you breathe, you have a rhythmic breathing that is deep, your heart rate relaxes, it slows down. And you can, do the experiment. If you go running, you need your breath to go fast, right? That's important. But if you stop and you take deep breaths, that's usually what we do, right? You take deep breaths and slow the pace of your breathing, then your heart rate is going to go down faster. It also can reduce your blood pressure. It reduces muscle tension and pain. It boosts the immune system. It improves digestion. And again, if we have a practice, if we regularly practice relaxation, if our heart rate is better, our blood pressure is better, so your cardiovascular system is gonna benefit. The other thing is, if you have a positive mind because you're relaxing, your capacity to heal is gonna be way better. There are studies that show that stress reduces your capacity to heal and the time of healing. If a person has a lot of stress mentally and spiritually, the physical body takes longer to heal. Okay, so let's try another relaxation exercise. So again, the first step to relax is to find a comfortable position. So just on your seat, I want you to make sure that your shoulders are relaxed and be comfortable. And I want you to, again, close your eyes. There is something about closing your eyes that separates you from the environment. Some Buddhist practices actually suggest that you just keep your eyes open, looking down. You can do that too if you feel more comfortable, if you don't want to close your eyes. But I want you to place the tip of your tongue behind your upper teeth. This way we keep the energy flowing in our body as a cycle, as a circle. And again, I want you to notice your breathing. So close your eyes, put the tongue in the back of your upper teeth, and notice your breathing. I want you to rest your palms on your thighs or your knees. And we're going to breathe in and out through the nose. So I want you to take a deep breath and silently count to 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want you to hold your breath counting 4. So hold 1, 2, 3, 4. And now slowly through your nose, I want you to breathe out counting 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want you to repeat that 8 times. Okay, slowly. I want you to go back to your normal breathing. And slowly open your eyes. Let us know in the chat how you're feeling. Okay, so that being said, let's go to questions and answers. So if you want to ask any questions, you can either just ask in the chat, or you can unmute and get the camera going so we can see you. And let's see if I have the answers for you.
I actually did have a question.
Yeah.
Do you recommend these? So my thing is trying to relax before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the muscle relaxation technique, which I try sometimes. Do you, is there one that kind of stands out for you as effective? Anything else? Anything we did tonight that would be useful for that? I mean, I guess the breathing, the last exercise with the breathing probably makes sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, definitely. Any attention you put to your breathing, right, and your heart rate when you're laying down in your back, in your bed, is gonna help you just get better sleep for sure. And definitely, the other one is try not to be on the phone, or any kind of screen before going to bed is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Not a good idea.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just remember to breathe.